We back. We back, Jay. We back with another one, another episode of Hidden Takes, episode 3. As usual, viewer discretion is advised because if you can't handle the heat, stay out the kitchen. Public service announcement number 1 of the day, Jay. But how you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, brother. Very happy to be here. Very happy to have another Hidden Takes episode with you, my brother. Like always, ready to get into this hoop talk, my brother.
Yes, sir, as usual. And let's start it right off. We got a brand new segment, and this is contenders versus pretenders, Jay.
Ooh, I
And I'm
like it.
excited. I'm excited. So we're just going to be talking about teams, and I'm going to be asking you how you feel about certain teams and if they're legit. So let's start it right off with the first team I got, the 14-8 Washington Wizards, led by Wes Unseld. How you feeling about the Wizards with a brand new cast of supporting cast under Bradley Beal? How you feeling about the Wizards? Are they a contender or a pretender at the second seed right now in
Now
the
let me
East?
now let me just ask one clarification. When we say contenders, are we talking about like playoff contenders, or we're talking about championship winning contenders?
Championship winning contenders, like elite team in the East, like a
Okay,
top 3. Are they going to finish it as a top 3 seed or top 4 seed in the East and be like competing for an Eastern Conference final? Yeah, that's what I
okay.
mean. Yeah.
Okay, and if that's the case, I got the Wizards as a pretender, man. I know right now that they're sitting pretty in that second seed at 14-8, but I mean, if we're talking about the top five teams in the East, I definitely don't got the Wizards beating out the Nets. I definitely don't got beating out the Bulls. I know some people I may be a little higher on the Bulls than other people, but I personally don't think that throughout the span of 82 game season, the Wizards will be able to upkeep that play and keep going with that. The Bulls, I think they have way more options and they can be able to keep that going throughout an 82 game season. I definitely don't have them beating the Bucks out. I know the Bucks were off to a rough start, man, but right now they're on an 8 game winning streak, just rolling, as they're getting all their player backs. And I mean, everybody likes the Miami Heat, man. The Miami Heat are looking extremely deep over there, man. So if that's the question, pretenders or contenders, man, if they're going to be a top 5 seed, I got the Wizards as a pretenders. But what about you, my brother? What about what you got?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they're off to a great start. We never expected them to be a top 3 seed in the East. I thought they'd be probably a play-in team. So they're just overachieving right now, and I don't see this success continuing, especially when teams get their guys back. One of those teams being the Bucks, who have battled injuries, and we've seen what they've done getting all their guys back, and they've continued and started to win. One of them being a huge win against the Hornets on their home court. But just as teams start to progress, get their guys back, they're a pretender to me. Despite no disrespect to them, they're off to a great start and can't take anything away from them. But anyways, Jay, just wanted to feel if you were feeling on the Wizard. Obviously, no magic there for the Wizard, but let's shift it over to the West. Let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks sitting at 4th in the conference in the West, over at 11-9. Luka was out for an extended period of time. We've seen Kristaps Porzingis, as we talked about on our last recap show, emerging and becoming that second option that we always thought he could be. Had another big game last night for the Mavs. But how are you feeling about the Mavs? Are they a top 4 seed? Pretender or contender?
You know what, Jay? As crazy as it sounds, I think that they're going to end up as a top 5 seed in the West. I have them as a contender, Jay. But I want to just put a little asterisk to it. Not a contender to mess with, the number 1 seed Suns, the number 2 seed Warriors, the number 3 seed Jazz. But right now, like I said, they're sitting at that 4th seed. If KP and Luka continue to, I mean, we know Luka is going to continue to be dominant Luka, that we all know. But if KP can continue to keep his play like this, man, I don't see no reason as to why the Mavs can't, finish in a top 5 seed. We've seen, the Lakers are struggling. We don't know how they're going to do, throughout the 82 game season. I don't think the Clippers are really going to be able to land at top 5 seed, just with Paul George, unless, they make some moves. We know that in today's league, you need, 2 or 3, real dominant stars to be one of those top 5 teams, man. And the Grizzlies, we just seen them go, we just seen Ja go down. And like how we said on the last pod, they don't look like they have much of an identity out there with Ja. And I actually am afraid that they're going to stumble on some games and not be able to, to catch up. Wow, Luka and KP and the Mavs over there, and my guy Mark Cuban is going to be able to pull it off, man. But what you got, Jake? Pretenders or contenders to you?
I'm out on the Mavs. I mean, I think they're a great team in the regular season, but that's where we find that shift and that correlation between the translation between a good playoff team, a team who can compete in the playoffs, and a good regular season. When I look at the Mavs roster, I look at a team who's going to be a solid regular season team and probably overachieve in that instance. But when it comes to playoffs, I think they're not going to be contender. But a top 5 seed in the regular season, I think they're contender for that. But pretender when it comes playoff time and when they need to advance past the second round, which we've seen Luka never do yet. So I'm not ready to put them in that. But Jay, just wanted to see how the temperature was on the Mavs. Doesn't look like they're getting out the stable, but let's talk about let's talk about players. All right, Jay.
Do it.
There is a sniper from Latvia. I believe he's from Latvia in New Orleans right now. Jonas Valanciunas is leading the entire NBA in 3-point shooting right now, shooting at a clip of 52%, 51.7% on 2.5 shots attempts per game, Jay. He is on pace to be the first center in the NBA to shoot 45 plus 3-point percentage on 2+ attempts per game. Jay, is Jonas Valanciunas a contender or a pretender to extend and go on to, match this historic rate? Like, is he a pretender or a contender to continue this throughout the rest of the season?
You know what, Jay? As much as I was happy to see, an unconventional player out there hitting shots, man, and just really getting after it, I gotta go down on that one, man. I gotta go. He's a pretender. There's no way I think he'll be able to keep this up between the 82 games span of a season, man. There's just too many great shooters that really do this for a living, man. Like, and I'm not even trying to say Jonas isn't, he doesn't do this for a living, but his game isn't, be out there in the 3-pointer. The Pelicans need him down low, beating people up down in the post and handling what he does. I mean, I think that if that's what he's going to try to do, the Pelicans' record's going to get even worse, man, because they don't need Jonas Valanciunas posting up outside the 3-point line trying to take those shots, man. So I'm pretenders on that, Jay. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretender on that historic level that he's at right now. But I will say this and add this little caveat with Zion Williamson coming back. And we know that having a guy who can extend the range, and my worry was they're going to have a clogged paint when Zion comes back with Valanciunas, a guy who likes to get nitty and gritty and grimy down low and likes to get his buckets down there. But if he can extend his range and shoot at this level or, at least above 40%, around that, the percentage is going to naturally drop. I believe us both believing he's a pretender. So therefore, if he can shoot just at a somewhat above 40% clip, man, I think that's great for the Pelicans and they could possibly make a run. So it ain't a bad thing and that sort of thing. But Jay, I got one more team before we talk about, games we saw. And that team that I want to talk about is the New York Knicks, sitting at 11-10 right now, just above 500. A team who we thought took a great leap last year. We were talking about them being. I had them as a 7th or 8th seed, I believe, in our Eastern Conference previews. But what are you feeling about them? Kemba Walker, Tom Thibodeau says he's out. He out the rotation, Jay. He ain't even touching the floor right now. Emmanuel quickly. All those guys took his minutes. Like, how are you feeling about the Knicks? They got a little trouble over there. You seen Julius Randle complaining after that Brooklyn game, saying he ain't getting calls. Man, it's bad right now in New York. What are you feeling about the Knicks? Pretenders or contenders?
it's definitely looking bad over there in New York, man. Honestly, when I seen the article come out, Tom Thibodeau saying Kemba's out of the rotation, I was like, wait, what? Like, I get it, moving to the bench, maybe quickly, or maybe Alec Burke is a greater option to start. But taking him out of the complete rotation, man, I don't see the need in that. I don't see the necessity to do that. I think Kemba Walker is a seasoned vet in the NBA. If anything, he can provide, buckets off the bench. He could be that spark plug player, off the bench right now, man. But man, Jay, like I had the Knicks a bit higher in the preseason rankings, but I'm just mind blown right now, Jay. Everything right now is just going down the drain, man. And I do gotta say, Jay, it seems to be like how you said in the preseason. You said that Tom Thibodeau seems to run his players to the ground, man. And it kind of looks like what's happened over there in New York, man. So if I had to go pretenders or contenders, Jay, unfortunately, man, as much as it pains me to say this, because when New York Knicks basketball is on fire, the NBA world is on fire, man. That's the mecca of basketball, man. Mm-hmm. But as much as it pains me to say this, the Knicks are some pretenders right now, man. And Tom Thibodeau himself is a pretender by taking out such a good player like Kemba out of the rotation, man. Yeah. But what's up, Jay? You feel the same way?
I was baffled when I saw that. I mean, you take a guy like Kemba. First of all, you paid him all that money, and you're paying him all that money to bring him in to add to, Julius Randle. One of the things that he needed was another scorer, another playmaker to take some pressure off him, to take him out of the rotation, man. I think it's bad. Like, and there's talks now about John Wall, Kemba deal. Who knows about that? We won't even get into that right now. It's a topic for another discussion for another day. But Jay, they're pretenders. I mean, I think they're in the contender range to make the playoffs or be in the playing game, but they ain't contenders like we kind of envisioned them being, at least in the second round this year. But I think they're pretenders for that. But anyways, Jay, let's move it forward. Let's keep it pushing to our next segment. And it'd be wrong. 2 days later, we got to talk about the showdown. The top two, I think we can both for now say these two teams are contenders, two of the best teams in the league right now. And that matchup was the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors in Phoenix, Jay. Tell me what you saw in that game, man, and how you're feeling about what transpired on that night.
Man, Jay. Well, a couple of episodes ago, Jay, I had asked you. I was like, Jay, we see that the Suns are on a 14-game winning streak. Do we think they're going to be able to keep it up? Because they had this super tough schedule coming up with Knicks, Nets, Warriors, and then a day off, and then the Warriors again. You and most people on this earth said no, they wouldn't be able to keep this up, man, because of this super tough schedule. But wow, are the Suns just proving everyone wrong right now, man? Like how you said, Jay, great game, well fought by both teams. The Suns end up pulling it out 104-96, man. And honestly, it was just a great overall team performance by the Suns, man. Having 5 players who score double digits or more, man. But what I really want to highlight, man, is a next man up mentality that the Suns really had. D-Book, their best player. I mean, I think we could agree Devin Booker is their go-to player, their best player. He goes out. He only plays 15 minutes due to a hamstring injury. And there's no drop off. Like most other, 29 other teams in the NBA would usually drop off when their best players out of the game, man. Players like Cam Johnson, had 14 points, shot 50% from the field, 42% from 3. Landry Shamet, JaVale McGee. We're just ready to contribute, when their numbers are called. But Jay, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about, in my opinion, the best role player in the league, and that's Mikal Bridges, man. He can score so effectively, when he needs to. But the most important thing in what he did in this game, which was huge, he realized that he wasn't hitting. It wasn't his night to score. The Suns needed him to be that defensive presence, and that's what he did, man. He was sticking to Curry, man. Made Curry's night very, very miserable, man. He got 4 steals, got a block, man, and it was just some great overall team performance by the Suns, man. And just real quick, I got to give it one more shout out to DeAndre Ayton, man. What an extremely versatile player, really proven Robert Sarv and the entire Phoenix front office that they messed up not giving him that max, man. I just saw him, being able to switch and being able to have the foot speed to keep up with Curry on the outside and be able to take it to Draymond Green in the offensive end, man. But Jay, man, I noticed one was hard. Because the Warriors are just doing so good, Jay. But what did you see from the Warriors and from the Warriors side of things? Or, talk a little bit about the Suns as well as you want.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, this was a great game. But just from the Suns side, I'll start with the Suns side of things. This is just proving to me, and I always thought it before, was the Suns' run to the NBA Finals last year was not a fluke. They're a great team. They're an extremely deep team with great chemistry. They've got, like you mentioned, Jay, role players who are stars in their role. That was something I talked about on the last episode when they're talking about their streak and dressing that. They got Cameron Payne as a great backup player. They're long, they're lengthy, they're athletic. They got great defenders who know night in, night out what their role is, how to do that. They're stars in their role. Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, all those guys stepped up. We saw DeAndre Ayton playing like the first pick that they had envisioned, and betting on himself. He's going to get a contract extension because he just adds a whole nother dynamic to the Suns that's really hard to stop. The Warriors didn't have the length to contest his shots, and he was just getting easy looks at the basket. And to starting out losing Devin Booker in the first half, I personally thought the Suns were done. But what did they show? They showed, like you said, the next man up. What's been the story of their run to the finals last year and continued now on their historic streak that they're on right now, man. So it's just a story that are told. Maybe they would have beat the Lakers to begin with in the first round, and then beaten all those healthy teams. Like this goes to show you how the depth of the Phoenix Suns, and I can't really say much else to them. I mean, they played a great game. They protected home court. Jay Crowder hit some huge threes, dagger threes at the end of that game. And then I believe Cameron Payne also hit the dagger. Or no, Landry Shamet hit the dagger to close it out. So just a great performance at home. And then let me shift it to what I saw from the Golden State Warriors. I mean, a team who's coming in at that time being the top team in the NBA, best record wise. We can say for now, for the next couple of days, that it's definitely the Phoenix Suns, and they proved that on Tuesday night. But I just look at the star player, Stephen Curry. And if you look at the box score, it was 4 for 21. I got to give credit and respect to Mikal Bridges and the effort he put out defensively. But at the same time, I mean, I think there was like 2 or 3 times when Steph airballed, going 4 for 21. I mean, this is one of his worst games of his careers, if not his worst game of his career. And you only lose by 8 on the road against a team of the caliber of the Suns. 23 turnovers to add to that. Anytime you turn over I said that, tweeted that out. Anytime you turn over the ball 23 times on the road, especially against any team, especially the caliber of the team of the Phoenix Suns, Jay, you're not winning that game, man. But on the positive side of the things, Jordan Poole, man, a guy who, Jay, we talked about being an MIP, still making a great case for that. 9 from 15 from the field, 6 from 12 from 3, 28 points. Somehow -9. That's why you can't put too much into that plus minus sometimes. But just overall, just his patience, a great game from him. Probably one of the only bright spots for the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins didn't look like himself. Kevon Looney was getting played off the floor. And then you look down the line, just the other role players, role players don't play as well on the road. And that's what we saw. Guys like JTA, guys who are usually solid in the role, just making key, crucial turnovers. And that was just the story of the game for Warriors. I look for in the rematch, albeit Devin Booker going to be out of that game. I look for the Warriors to bounce back in that one. But I mean, just the Phoenix Suns just showed me a lot, and they're a contender, stream contender, man.
They showed Jay, the Phoenix Suns really showed the world, that they're not to be playing with. They're, a lot of people, including myself, we have to agree, we have to right our wrongs and agree when we are wrong, man. I myself was saying that the Phoenix Suns, weren't for real, that they got there because of all these injuries, but man, they have, been kicking butts and taking names, man. And yeah, Jay, like, honestly, I just want to touch on Jordan Poole, like how you said, man, just an amazing performance, and we talked about him being that guy when Curry's out, right? Curry wasn't out. Curry was there, but maybe not mentally there. He wasn't really hitting his shots. He was having a tough time. I felt like the entire Warriors team was just getting a little bit sped up and having to playing to the Suns' pace, and which is why that caused for those 23 turnovers. Except for Jordan Poole, man. Jordan Poole controlled his pace, played the game that he wanted. But Jay, I'd be wrong if I didn't talk about who I think would have been so much help to the Warriors, and that's that guy Wiseman, man. I think that if Wiseman would have been in this situation, I think he could have been a good matchup for DeAndre Ayton. I know Wiseman's young, and it would have took some learning to be able to go against I wouldn't call DeAndre Ayton a seasoned vet, but I mean, he's gotten some pretty good experience, going on a deep playoff run. But I think Wiseman would have been a great matchup to put in there to be able to combat Ayton and all of Ayton's size, man. But
yeah, I mean, Jay, no, I mean, I think the key guy they missed was Klay Thompson, man.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I mean, from the Warriors standpoint, I mean, there's not too much to be like, hold your head down. You lost by 8. Steph had a terrible game. Not to take anything away from the Suns. Like, I think it meant a lot to the Suns for sure. Maybe a little more than the Warriors, and it showed on just how the game came out. Not saying the Suns came out ready to prove something, and the energy showed from tip, whereas the Warriors were a little slow to get into things. But yeah, we won't touch too much on that game, Jay. Looking forward to the rematch on Friday and seeing how the Warriors respond, and if the Suns continue their streak as well. Although they play tonight against those mighty Pistons. Careful. Yeah, careful with the Pistons. But Jay, just real quick, and you think they're going to extend to 18 tonight?
I think they'll be able to extend to 18 tonight. Okay. And like I said on the other pod, I think that the winning streak will end at this next upcoming Warriors game, because not only is Devin Booker out, but I mean, we talk about all the time, NBA players, they don't lose. If they mess up one thing, they make sure they hammer that down the next time and they get it down. And I think the Warriors and Steve Kerr are going to come with the entire different game plan. You
think 30 plus from Steph Friday night?
Man, I don't know about 30 plus, because Mikhail's going to be in there, man. And I just think that length was hard, but I think it's going to be a great overall team performance from the Warriors, and I think they're going to be able to pull it off. You got 30 plus?
I got 30 plus for Wardell. I got 30 plus, but I could see it'll be slowing down, but I just think they're going to adjust, more ball movement, more action. But Jay, let's keep it pushing. What are some other games that stood out to you this week, and kind of talk about them?
So one game that really stood out to me was this Lakers versus Kings game, man. The first thing that I noticed right off the bat, man, was AD and Russ's connection is finally starting to improve, finally starting to get a little bit better, man. It seemed like at the beginning of the season, it was more of my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. Now it seems that it's more of a duo threat, more pick and rolls, more being able to pick and choose when to attack. AD had 25 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, shot 54% from the field. Russ, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and shot 42% from the field. But that's not even who I want to highlight, man. What I want to really highlight is the Lakers bench, man. They really came out and they really brought it. Had 58 points off the bench. Malik Monk, 22 points, 60% from 3, 50% from the field. Dwight Howard looking like some vintage Dwight Howard, 12 points, 13 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. And Melo, coming off the bench, doing his thing, 14 points. And what was really most impressive to me, Jay, was that what has been the tale of the Lakers season, just doing great in the first half and falling off in the second half, man. That was the complete opposite in this game. I mean, they kind of stayed locked in throughout the entire game, but the second half is when they really turned it up. In the third quarter, they outscored the Kings 37-15. In the fourth quarter, they outscored the Kings 30-18, man. And it's funny, Jay, people say every L is a lesson, right? And I think that the Lakers actually took that as a lesson. On November 26th, that double OT game that they went in with the Kings, the Lakers got torched by Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield forced the game to overtime, just was hitting, getting to his spots, doing whatever it is that he wants to do. This game, I like how we talk about, Jay, when an NBA team or NBA players get torched in something, they make sure that they got that down for next time. This game, Buddy Hield 5 points, shot 14% from the field and 16% from three. The defense just really forced him into shots that he didn't want to take, man. So honestly, just a very impressive second half by the Lakers. And that 40-8 run was definitely what blew the game wide open, man. But to me, biggest thing was to see that AD and Russ connection actually working and it being less of Russ's turn than AD's turn, Russ's turn and AD's turn. And LeBron wasn't in there, man, which is, I thought was a definite loss for the Lakers, man. But is there anything you want to highlight from that game, Jay?
No, Jay. No, in terms of just the Lakers, and I kind of have a question that I was going to ask you later on in the show and I had listed was, Jay, for me, the Lakers against a team like the Kings, like that's a team that they should be with LeBron or without LeBron. Despite like all the things that you said, like I thought that was, it was a good win against the Kings. Bounce back, being in the team, can't ever lose to a team twice in the NBA. And they didn't do that. They came out, performed and beat them. But Jay, my question to you is the Lakers, despite having LeBron, despite having these injuries, they've had AD and Russell Westbrook healthy for the majority of the season. And they are, I believe, one game over 500 right now in the standings. Let me double check that. Actually,
they're sitting right there, right in sixth place.
Yeah, right in sixth place right now, as at 12-11 right now. But Jay, my question to you is, I think the Lakers are underperforming. I had them as a number 3 seed to start the season, but I think they sacrificed a lot of their rotation, as we see Alex Caruso thriving in Chicago. We see that Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope are leading the Washington Wizards to a team that we talked about as pretenders, but as 14-8 right now in the East. So my question to you is, if the Lakers continue to just stay mediocre at 500, which I kind of see them, floating around 500 because of all these injuries, because of their lack of depth, because of LeBron potentially missing 10 days plus due to COVID, which is extremely unfortunate. Do you see Frank Vogel being kind of the scapegoat or being fired and be the first one out? Because they're not getting rid of AD. They're not getting rid of LeBron. And no one is going to want Russell Westbrook's huge contract. So my question to you, Frank Vogel on the hot seat, is he the first one out? How are you feeling about that? What's the temp on that?
Frank, to me, in my opinion, Frank definitely is on a hot seat right now, man. And I don't think it's time yet to kick him out the door, only because his best player and the glue to all of this. I mean, AD is definitely the best player on the team, but the glue to all of it. LeBron is the glue. AD is the best player, but LeBron is the glue to all this. He's missed so much time, but he's definitely, his seat is burning up, Jay. He's got the butt warmers on the seat, because the lineup sometimes just don't really make sense. He doesn't seem to run what works, man. From the beginning of the season, I don't know why the Lakers haven't been running high pick and rolls with Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis from the rip, man. And I just think that his lineups are the biggest question mark to me. People talk about, oh no, Frank Vogel's a good coach, he won a championship. Okay, well they had LeBron and AD, and it was a whole different thing, man. That was
in the bubble.
Yeah, but I don't think the bubble had much to do with it. I just think that it was LeBron and Anthony Davis, and just at that point, LeBron was just playing at such a high point. Anthony Davis was bringing it every single night, man. And when Anthony Davis brings it, there's just nobody in this league, and we talk about it all the time. There's nobody in this league that can stop him. The nights that he brings it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that, Jay. But to me, Frank Vogel's biggest downfall right now is why I said the bubble, not to take anything away from what happened in the bubble and them winning the championship there. It's that the depth that they had in the bubble, they were extremely deep team there. They had Caruso, they had JaVale McGee, they had Dwight Howard, they had Rajon Rondo, who was playing at a higher level. They had THT was still on the roster. They had all these pieces and depth on that roster that Frank Vogel, I feel like, and you talk about the rotations, Jay, it's like he still thinks they're as deep as they were in 2020, which they're not. And I think that's leading to a lot of the issues they have. He's believing almost too much in his bench, where he should be giving more time to Malik Monk, all these guys who deserve more minutes, where he's relying on his reserves like it's 2020. So he's got to fix up, or Jay, like you said, he's gone, man. Like he's stuck in the past too much, and he's got to play the guys that are going to win him games. Jay.
Absolutely, Jay. I'm right there with you, man. I just think that's what's at the end of the day. If he doesn't make a change, then I think that Rob Pelinka and that Lakers organization really needs to be looking towards, making a change with him, man. Just got to see who's out there. I think that Alvin Gentry wouldn't have been the worst option, man. But I don't know, man. It's kind of looking rough out there. But I definitely agree with your point that he thinks that he still has that same depth as that 2020 roster, man.
Yeah, no, I think, and it's the Lakers are the most win now team in the NBA. Like LeBron's not getting any younger, so they're win now. Or if you can't do that, you can't help them out, then you're out. But yeah, Jay, let's keep it pushing. I just wanted to feel what the temperature was that. So let's talk about some news, some key pieces, the focal point for one team and a huge piece, one of the top 2 or 3 players, however you want to look at it, for this team, and that team's the Miami Heat. And we just found out yesterday that that Bam Adebayo, their star center, is set to get thumb surgery and expected to miss the rest of December, 4 to 6 weeks, and that's maybe not even be the timeable, Jay. So what do you look at when you see Bam, the key piece, the center of the future for the Heat, being out for that extended of times, and all the injuries? Also, Jimmy Butler, Vic Oladipo still not back. The Heat battling all these injuries. Even Tyler Hero missing yesterday, I believe. So what do you see for the Heat? Are they going to be able to weather this storm? Like, are they going to be able to keep it hot there, or is it going to be cold for the Heat?
Are they going to be able to keep that heat on, Jay? I don't know, man. Jay. Yeah, Jay. Honestly, Jay, I don't know if they'll be able to keep that same type of pressure and again, no pun intended, that same type of heat on that they've been bringing all season.
Pressure, yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to keep that same pressure, man. But I gotta highlight the one of my favorite pickups, during the entire offseason. That was just the PJ Tucker pickup, man. It's extremely underrated pickup, and the Heat were happy to have him, as a defensive player, as a hustle player. But with Bam now being out, with his thumb injury, I think that PJ can fit right in, not do everything that Bam can. He's not nearly as much of a scoring threat. He's not nearly as much of a lob threat. He is a different game. But I think that the drop off won't be as bad. I have here written up the drop off, like we talked about a couple episodes. The drop off for the Nuggets, MPJ to Jeff Green. That's a big drop off to me. That's you might lose a playoff series. PJ Tucker, I mean, we've seen what he can do. I know he's getting up there in age, man, but we've seen what he can do. He gave Kevin Durant a hard time last year in that Bucks Nets playoff series, man. So I think that the drop off will be there, but it won't be as significant, and which is great for the Heat, man. Because like you said, Jay, they're battling so many injuries, and with Markieff Morris still being out because of that Jokic bow to the neck. Yeah. So man, I don't know. It's looking kind of. It's looking like some pressure will be taken off, but I don't think that they'll get to the point where they drop too many games that they can't make it back when Bam comes back. But how do you feel, Jay?
Yeah, no, I think they like you said, they added that depth just for this moment when a player missed out. I think they're one of the deeper teams, especially in the East. So I think they're set up to be successful. Dwayne Dedman is going to be a guy who's got to step up and play a little bit of a role for them. So I think they're going to be okay, especially in the East. I think they're going to have a better chance. They may drop some games, but I think they'll be right around the middle of the pack there in the playoff standings, around that 4, 5, 6 seed when Bam gets back on the bright side of things for them. But Jay, man, I can't lie. As a fantasy owner, having Bam on my
Oh
squad,
man, Jay
that
got.
hurt.
Oh,
That
Jay, I
hurt. I
forgot you
can't
had
lie. That
Bam on your
hurt.
fantasy.
And you never want to see a guy go down. Obviously, that's their livelihood, that's their career. But man, when he's on your fantasy team, it even adds
Especially
salt
a
to the
key player
wound,
like
man.
that.
Key player, like
Oh,
second round pick. Oh man, Bam! If you're listening, we know you're a fan of the show. So get back healthy soon, man. We need you
and
back.
come on, help
Back.
Jay, because hey guys, Jay, I got to put it out there. Jay is 6-0 in this damn fantasy league, y'all. He has not lost a game, and Bam, if you ruin the game for him, Jay might have some feelings towards you.
Nah, it's good. Hey, but Jay, this is why we you got to get off to a fast start. But you're back on it too. Jay's making a run of his own, but you got to win those games early so you can make up for when your team and guys go down. But let's keep it pushing to another team who's gonna be hurting without their star, and that's a guy who we've all wondered, Jay, and we've talked about it before on the show, John, was Damian Lillard. Hasn't been looking like himself. And it was because, like I said back in past, because of the injury that he re-aggravated in the Olympics. And that's an injury to his ab. Expected to be out now 10 days after an MRI confirmed it was a lower ab injury, man. So this is just a huge blow to the Portland Trailblazers, a team who are already just right there with mediocrity, a team who the Dame was potentially looking like all those doubts he had about them needing and then taking back what he said about wanting to get out if they don't make moves, and they didn't really make any moves that brought them forward. So, Jay, what's are they going to be able to weather the storm without Dame, a guy who was struggling but who is their leader, albeit like he's the guy who makes them go at the end of the day. So how are you feeling on that?
Man, Jay, unfortunately, I don't think they'll be able to weather this storm without Dame. Only good thing that comes from this is CJ McCollum got in my fantasy, so he's gonna be putting up buckets. But man, like to answer to answer the question, I don't think that they'll be able to weather this storm, and it's very frustrating to see because as the Blazers were starting to get it rolling a little bit, they're starting to fill in Larry Nance Jr. for Nurkic's spot, and they were actually starting to roll a little bit, and we've seen Dame pick up his performance, but I think when now with this injury and him, I believe he's set to miss like 2 weeks or something around that time. I think that they're gonna drop the ball, drop too many games, and I don't know if they'll be able to catch that back and get back on the roll. Right now, they're sitting in 8th seed, tied with the Clippers in 7th seed, but also tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 9th seed, and then the Nuggets 10th seed. And they're at 10 and 11. But I think that when the Nuggets, start to get a little healthier, start to get some players back, we just seen that Jokic just came back the other day. I think that the Nuggets will be able to pick up and climb up those rankings. And I think that teams like the Portland Trailblazers that are missing key players like Dame Lillard are going to climb down. And I really don't want to see Dame in another play-in situation because where is his career going? Is he just going to be a play-in player forever? And very frustrating just to see as a Blazers fan. As a Blazers, I mean, I'm not even a Blazers fan, but for someone that is a Blazers fan, like that could definitely be frustrating because your team is playing each year, then knocked out first round. The farthest you go is first round, second round, but never real true championship and title contenders. And at what point do you ask yourself, all right, we got to blow this up, man? So yeah. I think that they need to be looking elsewhere, man. I've been said this. I know Blazers fans don't want this, but trade CJ McCollum for Ben Simmons, get a whole different look in there, and Sixers would love that. And I think that Ben Simmons will bring them some much needed defense that they need. But how do you feel about the Blazers, Jay? Will they be able to weather the storm?
Nah, I don't think they were already struggling. Dame was already struggling without them. Despite it being Anthony Simon's time, I think the Blazers aren't going to be able to weather the storm. You took the words right out of my mouth, Jay. So I don't even got to say real much when it comes to that. But yeah, let's keep it pushing as well with some more news. So Jay, let's talk about this team, or these two teams, I should say. So after a 4-month investigation, the NBA has punished the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat with the loss of second-round draft picks because of premature discussions into the free agency of guards Lonzo Ball and Kyle Lowry. The league announced Wednesday, which is yesterday when we're recording this. Chicago will lose their next available second-round pick after the league concluded that these teams had impermissible discussions with representatives of the players ahead of the opening free agency on August 2nd of 2021. In a memo, two teams obtained by ESPN, the league wrote both teams fully cooperated with these investigations, which was a factor in the penalties. So Jay, with this news and how are you feeling about this? I mean, that's obviously big news for a team like the Bulls and the Miami Heat, who obviously value their second round picks because they're going to be competing. They're going to be in the playoffs. So those second round picks, they're going to have late first round picks because they'll already be in the playoffs. So those second round picks, that's when you find those kind of steals, those role players who are integral to a team who wants to be contender. So what do you think about this news and what effect does that have on those two teams?
I was listening to all the smoke, when Matt Barnes is Stack and then they were talking a little bit about this, and Stack brought up something that I never even really thought of this way, because at first I was like, well, that's what they deserve, that's the fine they deserve. But when free agency hits, when midnight hits, so many trades just start boom, 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 boom. Like all of a sudden, like there's no way that they didn't already, all teams didn't already discuss this, didn't already have this talk through. What I think happened here was that, another team was trying to get Alonzo or trying to get the Kyle Lowry, and they didn't get it. And then they had some inside news that the Bulls and the Heat were talking to them prior to anything. And I think they were just salty. And they just wanted to rat out everyone, man, because I think realistically, this has been happening in the NBA, man. Every year we see, as soon as midnight hits, we see like 5-6 trades. 5-6 signings just go down. There's no way that they're up at midnight just like, yeah, I'm ready to sign. They've been talking, man, whether it's agent, whether it's players, whether it's friend and friend. And like in the off season, we see players all the time. Come play with me, come talk, come do this, come do that. And I think that's just regular, man. I think that's just where the NBA has gone now. But like how you said, Jay, it is instrumental, and it's very upsetting for the Bulls and the Heat, because now they've lost their draft pick. Honestly, like how you said, Jay, they're gonna make playoff pushes, if not deep playoff pushes. So they're not gonna get a high pick, man. So that's where they are supposed to find those gems. And unfortunately, they lost it, man. They lost it. How do you feel about the situation? Was it justice or was it wrong to take it away from them?
No, I think it's just, like you said, that's part of the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game, man. That's part of the off season. That's part of free agency. You're gonna have those talks before. That's already happening. They just got caught, man. That's as simple as it is. They got caught. The team ratted on some snake shit, and that's what happened, man. And it's unfortunate for those teams, but that's just a part of the game. You do your dirt. Sometimes you got to do the time as well. So the Bulls and the Heat are doing the time, Jay. But that's all the news we got for this episode, man. But let's keep it pushing and go to our last segment, which is game picks for when you're listening to this. This episode is being recorded on December 2nd. So this will be for the December tomorrow's games, which will be December 3rd. So that's what we're doing our picks for.
Yes, sir. All right, Jay, you ready to do these picks? You ready to run them off?
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
All right, here we go, Jay. First game of the night is the team that we just talked about, just lost their draft picks, the Miami Heat versus the struggling Indiana Pacers. Who you got on that one, my brother?
I got the Pacers in that, man. I think the undermanned Heat team, we don't know if Jimmy's going to be back for that. The Pacers know that they have to get back on the board with the dub. shout out to homie who got mixed by Trey Young. Put him in the blender last night. My goodness, they got the whole squad's got to recover. Karis LeVert, I don't know what he's been doing, but he has not been looking good. Jay, and that was something you said. But yeah, not to get overdo it. Yeah, I got the Pacers in that one because they need to win. So that's who I'm going with.
Okay. I gotta go the other way, Jay. I gotta go with the Miami Heat, man. I think the Heat are gonna bring in, man. You know, now that they are undermanned, they need to bring it in these easy win games so they don't fall too deep down the schedule. So I think that Eric Spoelstra is gonna make sure them boys bring it. But next game that we got, my brother, would be the Washington Wizards versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who you got on that one?
I got the Wizards in that. I think the Cleveland's plays every team tough though. I don't think it's gonna be a close game. Maybe down to 5 to 10 points, maybe even closer. Who knows? But I got the Wizards in that one, grinding out a close game against the team with Evan Mobley back in the lineup.
Man, Jay, you talked about it. That guy Evan Mobley, I can't go against him, man. And right now the Cavs being on that 3-game winning streak, man. So I'm gonna swerve on this one too, Jay. I'm gonna go with the Cavs on this one. I think they'll be able to pull that one out, man. But Jay, this next game, you predicted this last year, Jay. You predicted this last year. 76ers versus the Atlanta Hawks, Jay. That's the ESPN game of the night. Who you got on that game?
I gotta go with my Hawks. I gotta go with the Birds. I gotta go with the Birds in that. Yeah, no, I got the Hawks. Just continuing to do what they do, playing at an extremely high level. Trey's playing at all NBA team level right now. Superstar player that we thought he took those leaps last season in the playoffs, and we're starting to see him really know how to lead this team, and that's what they need from him, especially with the guys they got out right now. And he's doing that, and I think he'll continue to do that Friday night.
Absolutely, Jay. You know, as much as I like the 76ers, man, as much as I think that they're a good team, I think right now the way the Hawks are playing, the way the Hawks are rolling, led by Trey Young himself, I got to go with the Hawks on that one, man. All right, next game we got, Jay, is the Brooklyn Nets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I got the Nets in that, but I think D'Lo's gonna have a big game because as you see, he shows out in those revenge games. But I got the Nets in that.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I think D'Lo does good too, but not 15-6 good. So no. I got the Nets on down. All right, next game, brother, is this is going to be a very hard game to watch. The Houston Rockets versus the Orlando Magic.
Oh man, that's a bad ball. But I got the Surgeon Rockets in that, man. They're playing some good basketball, especially with guys out. We saw them take care of business against the lowly Oklahoma City Thunder, but I think they're starting to piece things together. And maybe a hot take, bro, but they might be playing better without Kevin Porter in the lineup, man. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, Jay, but I'm right there with you, man. I think that the Rockets, got some great young talent, in Christian Wood and all these great young players, and just basically young guys versus young guys. Just a little scrimmage of this game. So I definitely got the Rockets on that one. Next game of the night is the Pelicans versus the Mavs. Sorry, I could not get that out. Pelicans versus the Mavs. Who you got on that one, brother?
Pelicans versus the Mavs, man. I got the Mavericks in that. Yeah, no, just with Luka, KP. Yeah, balling right now.
You gonna disrespect my guy Jonas Valanciunas like that?
Jonas is gonna knock him down though, put him up. But I still got the Mavs though.
I'm right there with you. Jonas is gonna put him up, but he's gonna put him up and still lose the game. All right, next game, Jay, is the Celtics versus the Utah Jazz. It's gonna be a good game. Who you got taking that one?
I got Utah. I mean, they're a great regular season team. Playoffs, different story. What remains to be seen. But yeah, no, I got the better coach team and the more well-rounded team in that one.
Okay. All right. And then next game we got, Jay, is going to be the Battle of LA, Los Angeles Clippers versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Who you got winning that one, Jay?
I'm going to go with the Clippers in that one. I think that they're just a team who's playing just better basketball right now, despite losing last night, but Paul George was out last night. But I think it's going to be a close game. And I think just Paul George is going to take over at the end, especially with LeBron being out.
Okay.
But who you got, Jay? You got
I got to go with the Lakers on this one, man,
Yeah.
because Lakers right now on a two-game winning streak, and like we talked about, and seeing that connection with AD and Russ really starting to grow, man. These role players off the bench, that'll be a good game. But Jay, the best game of the night, the game we're all going to be looking forward to, the rematch, Jay, the rematch. The Phoenix Suns versus the Golden State Warriors, the same record, basically 2 number 1 seeds. Who do you got winning that one, brother?
I got Golden State in that one. I think they know that they had a tough game. They know they need to bounce back against the Suns, especially protect home court at Chase Center. Steph's not going to go for 4 for 21. I'm expecting to get big game from Steph on the home court. I'm expecting them to change a few things on offense, get a little more ball movement, all that kind of jazz that will work in their favor, and they're going to come out with the W in San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jay. We talk about all the time. NBA players, NBA teams do not make the same mistake twice. Definitely don't think Curry's going to have a bad game like that again. And I know Steve Kerr is going to just implement different lineups, different paces, and just play at a different style. And I think that the Warriors will be able to pull this one off, man. But all right, Jay, let's go. That's a good slate of games. That's a good slate of games for a Friday.
Yes, sir.
But all right, man. So, Jay, I think this is a good place for us to go ahead and just wrap it up here, Jay. As always, man, this was a great episode. You got any last words you want to say for the fans here?
No, man. Appreciate your support. Watch us. Keep watching us. Keep messing with us.
Yes, sir. Keep messing with us, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram. It'll be right here and in the description down below. And for you guys on podcasts, it's at Clutch Talk Pod. Once again, that's at Clutch Talk Pod. Don't miss it, because we over there, we active, and we have fun over there, man. But if that's it, man, then we out of here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.